Yo, have you had your dose of pep today? Don't worry, I got you. Let's go. Welcome back to episode 4 of the Pep Talk Podcast. I am your host, Coach Jay, and you know, say it with me, the purpose of this podcast is to cheer you on and coach you up. We're here about the elevation, we're about going higher, we're about doing the work in ourselves that's required of us. We're about taking dominion of our thoughts and our mindsets. We're about motivating ourselves, but also being a motivation and inspiration and encouragement to other people. We're about changing ourselves and changing the world. It's in you. I know it's in you. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now if I didn't think that the power was in you to do the impossible. Y'all, I believe it. And if you were with us for episode 3, you heard us talking about The Alchemist by the author Paulo Coelho that's been on the New York Times top 25 bestseller list for 25 years. And we talked about how this book for him was a metaphor of him accomplishing something that he felt was impossible in his life. And I'm here to tell you, that as surely as you were hearing my voice, there are things right now in your life that you believe are impossible, but I'm here coaching you up, right? We're going to get that mindset right, because remember, if you can change your mind, then you can change your life. And I strongly believe that if I can see the benefits of mindset work in my own life, then I can help you to realize it in your life as well. Now, remember, the reason that we were exploring themes in The Alchemist is because I felt like there were 5 of these themes over the course of this book that could help you accomplish your goals. Like, I believe that these are strong goals that, when taken and put into action, implemented, right? We're not just sitting here talking about it. We're not just listening to it, but we're putting action steps in to allow us to implement them. So last episode, we talked about 2 of these themes, but this is going to be part 2. Remember, I made the executive decision at the end of the last episode to make a part 2 so that I could really give these last 3 steps some really good traction to help you understand them, what they mean for you, and how you can put them into action. And so when we come back, we're going to review the first 2 themes from last episode, and then we're going to move on to themes 3, 4, and 5. This is the Pep Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Jay, and we'll be right back. All right. We're back. All right, so we're back. And before I go any farther, again, I want to thank all of you who've been listening, all of you who have subscribed. And I want to keep encouraging you to leave those ratings, to leave those comments, to like them, to tell your people about it, right? Tell your people about the podcast. Tell your people what you're getting out of it. Share the good news, and share the good news with us too. We love your emails. Please keep sending them to thepeppodcast@gmail.com. All right, so we talked about The Alchemist. The story of the main character, Santiago, chasing to accomplish his personal legend, or the true thing that he's supposed to accomplish with his life. And so the first theme that arises in this book is a simple one. We said that it was just to discover your personal legend. And we talked about how in order to truly discover what you're here to do, it's going to take you pulling away from the crowd. It's going to take you spending time with yourself. And I understand. Quiet time and time with ourselves can be some of the most frightening time in the world. But we also said last time that you will never discover your purpose if you're not self-aware. And the only way to be self-aware is to quiet things down, Like, don't fill your ears with Netflix and with your music and with podcasts. Even if it's this one, if you are in a time of reflection, even cut this one off and spend quality time with yourself so that you can know the direction that you are supposed to be headed. So whether you are, involved in prayer, introspection, meditating, whatever it is, there is something greater out here for you to accomplish. You have to discover your personal legend so that you can begin living your life on purpose today, y'all. It's 2023. You have the freedom to dream up the greatest, grandest version of life for yourself and then get to it. But you have to spend time discovering yourself so that your personal legend will become apparent to you. And then theme number two was that we have to lose the fear of failure. And I used this quote from the book. It says, there's only one thing that makes a dream impossible to achieve: the fear of failure. How true is that? Like, I've seen that play out so much in my life. And I talked about that in the last episode, about how, the fear of failure and even the fear of acceptance/success, they will hold you in a circle of doing nothing while you're thinking about doing this. Oh, but now I'm afraid of failure. Oh, now I'm afraid of how my life will change if things do work out. Yo, you've got to push past it. You can't allow those things to limit you because you have so much more to accomplish in your life. Okay, theme number 3 from The Alchemist that will help you achieve your goals, discover your purpose, and live your life according to purpose, on purpose, to realize the reason why you were here. Quit using your attachments as excuses. Oop, I said it. Quit using your attachments as excuses. See, throughout the book, Santiago thinks about his sheep. See, Santiago is a shepherd. And while his father wanted him to become a priest, he wanted to see the world. And as a shepherd, he was able to see that. And in doing so, he became so enthralled, so in love with his sheep, that he almost doesn't pursue his personal legend. He has this dream where this boy tells him to go to Egypt to discover a treasure that's buried there. And he thinks for a long time about this because he's thinking about his sheep. In the middle of the book, when he's thinking about giving up, he's thinking about going back to his sheep. Maybe not the same sheep, maybe buying different sheep, but he's thinking about going back to sheep. See, too many times the things and people that we're attached to become the things and people that hinder our personal journey. But see, attachments should not hinder. Let me say that again. Attachments to people should not hinder you from going after your purpose for your life, from going after the plans for your life. If anything, they should provide extra motivation for you to go hard after those things. Y'all hear me? Like my wife. Let's talk about my wife for a second. I'm going to have her on the pod with me. It's going to be a great episode. So stay tuned for that. But my wife, after teaching for 10 years, she felt an overwhelming urge. She felt like God was leading her in a different direction. So now she's in chiropractic school, right? And the coolest thing for me to watch over these 3 years is to see how our kids have reacted to her being in school. It's not been a, mama, why are you in school, etc., etc. It's like, wow, mommy, you're doing this. You quit one thing, you're going after another. And here's the kicker. We're a family of 7. My wife and I, and we have 5 kids. We're motivation for her. When she gets tired, when she wants to quit, when she's questioning why she even chose to go in this route, she looks at the kids. She looks at them and she wants them to see that even though there's hardship, even though it hurts sometimes, even though she cries, sometimes. It's worth it. See, her attachment to us is not a hindrance. It provides her energy to keep fighting through the tiredness, to keep fighting through those moments of despair, those moments that would try to come and make her fear failure. No. The attachments that you have in your life, they are there to provide you additional motivation to pull from. Now, everything that I do for my wife and kids is for us to have an abundant future. I didn't say rich. I didn't say wealthy. I said abundant. And I'll explain that in a later podcast. But just really quickly, we don't do it for money, right? To be rich and famous, no. I'm not podcasting hoping to, get on Joe Rogan's level. No, I'm not podcasting looking to be, this or that to attain rich or wealthy status. Everything I do, from my mindset coaching to this podcast to teaching to everything that I do, is centered around abundance. That means that everything that I do, I'm looking to add value to people. And I'm looking that as I'm doing this, I'm enriching the lives of others to a point where they're going out and doing the same thing, where that abundance is multiplied, where the splendor and extravagance of the output and the effort and the harmony with which everything is working together, it's just glorious. And our attachments should aid us in that adventure toward achieving all that we have. Our attachments should neither be a crutch nor a cause for complacency. And if you're finding right now that your attachments to people and things, you know what? Here's what I want you to do. As you're taking notes for this one especially, I want you to write down the things in your life that you are attached to. Yeah. Don't spare anything. And I'm not going to see it unless you want to email it to me. I'll gladly look at it. But I want you to write down the things that you are attached to. And I want you, out beside each one of those names, each one of those things, whatever, I want you to write down whether they are a hindrance or whether they provide motivation. What are they adding to your life, or what are they pulling away from your life? Are they advantageous to you, or are they a detriment? Y'all hear me though. Like, if you're not willing to leave behind the attachments that are keeping you from fulfilling your personal legend, if you're not willing to get away from and distance yourself from attachments that are keeping you stuck in the cycle, then I'm going to be blunt and honest with you. You will never achieve more than what you have now, because your attachments should be motivation. Your attachments, again, and I'm going to say it, your attachments should neither be a crutch nor a cause for complacency. Now, it's cool to chill sometimes, right? But if your attachments have you in the club every weekend when you know there's stuff that you need to be working on, something has to change. If your attachments are not challenging you to lose that weight that you want to lose, to go after that career that you've always talked about wanting to pursue, or to produce that product or to launch that business or service, if your attachments are not pushing you to do that, then your attachments are doing you a huge disservice. And you are sabotaging yourself by allowing your attachments to control your life to such a degree that they leave you stuck. Come on, somebody. I said I was going to cheer you on, but this is where I'm coaching you up. Your attachments should not be excuses. Be clear on what your attachments are. They're either an advantage in their motivation, or they are hindering you, they are handcuffing you, and they are keeping you chained to a life that is less than what you were put here to live. If I stepped on your toes, I love you. I'm giving you that pep. But I also have to be truthful to you because I love you and I want the best for you in this life. Okay, so that was theme number 3. Quit using your attachments as excuses. Theme number 4. Remove the option of giving up or quitting. See, over the course of achieving his personal legend, Santiago encountered hardship that at every hand made him stop to wonder if he wanted to go on. But because he had resolved to himself before he started his journey that he wasn't going to quit until he had fulfilled his personal legend, he was able to take that and to use it as motivation, as strength, as courage to continue. I remember when my wife and I were talking about getting married, we talked about what might constitute a divorce. And then we stopped and agreed that divorce was not an option. And something about that moment felt so powerful. And I often look back on it because our marriage has hit rocky times, just like any other relationship. But because we agreed to never give up in the beginning, removing the option set the intention that we were committed. Now, don't take that as marriage advice for you, but think about the spirit behind the words. You remember how I talked about how our brains, when we set an intention, our minds begin to look for ways to bring that intention to become a reality? Okay, so along those same lines, when we tell ourselves that, oh, we can always quit this, then our mind is going to always be looking for a means of escape. If we say, I can try this, but if I don't like it, I can stop it immediately, then the smallest thing our mind is going to grab a hold to and say, oh, yeah. Here's the escape clause right here. Let's quit. Let's quit right here. But when you set that intention that quitting is not an option, then your mind will hold you to that. Because see, if quitting is always an option, we will always hold it in our back pocket like we have our thumb on the nuclear red button, right? The smallest thing, boom, press the button, blow everything up. I quit. I don't want to deal with this anymore. And I see it in class, y'all. I see it so many times with students who think they have something else to fall back on aside from their education. And so they're always ready to quit in the exact moment that things don't go the way that they want to go. And I tell my students all the time, yo, it takes courage. It takes strength to tell yourself that you're going to hang on, that you're going to stay with it, that you're going to remove quitting as an option altogether. See, even when Santiago wanted to quit and he had every reason to quit, even when it made sense to quit, because he told himself that he wasn't going to give up, he didn't give up. He committed to himself. Y'all, some of us need to commit to ourselves. When's the last time you committed to you? When's the last time you told yourself that I'm going to be successful in this and I'm not going to quit until it happens? Like, when's the last time you committed to you? Dr. Eric Thomas, hip hop preacher, he said it better than I could probably ever say it. He says, you owe you. You owe you to not give yourself a means of escape. You owe you to maximize your purpose. You owe you to maximize your skills and abilities and your talents, and to not rest on your laurels and to not be satisfied until you accomplish what you've set out to accomplish. You owe you. You don't owe anybody else. Nobody else owes you anything. If at the end of things, your life falls short of what you've planned for it, then that's the balance of what you gave yourself. That's the balance of what you've worked yourself. I'm going to ask you again. When's the last time you committed to you? I dare you. I dare you to remove the escape clause. I dare you to remove the option to give up and the option to quit. All right, now it's time for the last theme. And just to recap, we've been reviewing these 5 themes from the book The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And there are 5 themes, I believe, in this book that, when taken and applied, it makes us able to achieve our goals. We've talked about discovering your personal legend. 2, we've talked about losing the fear of failure. Number 3, we talked about allowing your attachments to become excuses. Number 4, we talked about removing the option of quitting, of giving up. And now here's number 5. Write this down. Live in the moment. You got to live in the moment. You remember the Eminem song? Maybe you haven't heard it. Lose yourself. You got to lose yourself in the moment. You got to never let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. Opportunity comes once in a lifetime. Great movie, great song, great message behind it. And it falls in line kind of with this book. Santiago meets a camel herder as he's traveling to Egypt, who told him how he used to be a very successful farmer until the Nile flooded and destroyed his farm. He told Santiago that he had to make a decision on earning a living, and thus he decided to herd camels. Like, he could have, bemoaned his past. Oh my gosh, I used to be a successful farmer. Oh my gosh, Mother Nature screwed me, destroyed my livelihood. Oh my gosh. The camel herder could have been like, I used to be this. I used to be that. Oh my gosh, life took this away from me. And in doing so, he would have placed himself in a torturous cycle of suffering, right? In choosing to live in his past and how rich he used to be and how successful he used to be, he could have handicapped himself. However, instead of staying stuck in that moment of what used to be, he chose to live in what is, and he found a way forward. See, the camel herder told Santiago that in the desert, there is no moving back. There's only moving forward. Friends, so it is with life. If you choose to live in the past, or if you're only living for the future, you'll only be living a very frustrated life. But when you pause to recognize the power of now, then suddenly life begins to open up in surprising ways. Y'all, live in the now. The now is what we have. The present is what we have. What happened in the past has already happened. The future, it hasn't happened yet. But see, we have this gift that's been set right in front of us, and it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's beautiful that right now, today, you can produce anything with this day that you want to produce with it. If you want to produce just sitting at home, chilling out, watching Netflix, that's what you've chosen. If you choose to get up and take a walk or start exercising, you've chosen that. If you choose to start a podcast or print out a business plan, that's what you've chosen. The blessing of the present is that you choose what the day is going to look like. And as you set your intention toward that day that you have ahead of you, then you're going to begin to see things play out in your life. And you will now really see with clarity the impact that your choices makes. And when you don't lean on your past, and when you aren't actively awaiting the future, it's like Christians who are saying, I can't wait to get to heaven. Why can't we just go to heaven now? There's a saying that you've become so heavenly minded that you're of no earthly good. We're here now. And what we do with what we have right now impacts everything ahead of us and everyone around us. It is of the utmost importance, my friends, that you take today and you make today what you want it to be. And then you wake up tomorrow and you set your intention for that day and you make that present day what you want it to be. It's up to you. It's up to you. So how are you going to put these things into action? Discovering your personal legend, losing your fear of the past, and not allowing your attachments to be excuses, removing the option of giving up, and living in the present, living in the now. What are your action steps? And I'm asking you this, and I really want you to respond. What are your action steps for applying each of those themes into your life? Because I promise you, if you put concrete, actionable steps down and you go back and you review them and you put them up and you're looking at them every day, then you will see an actionable change in your life. I'm promising you. And here's what I want from you. I want to know what your action steps are. So if you see this as a post on Instagram, drop them in the comments. Send me an email at thepeppodcast@gmail.com. I want to know what your action steps are for moving forward with these themes in your life on a daily basis. What does it look like? I can't wait to hear from you. When we come back, we're going to look at the quote of the day and we're going to wrap up. Be blessed. All right, today's quote of the day is from my man, Les Brown, who always brings the fire. And he says this: shoot for the moon. For even if you fail, you'll still land among the stars. And that's his exhortation for you, not to just dream big, but to dream enormously big. Dream so big that it scares you, that it frightens you, that it makes you wake up at night like, oh my gosh, what have I just done? That's what we're talking about. The impossible happening. You gotta dream big, yo. This has been a great time with you all, splitting this podcast up into a part 1 and a part 2. And I want to hear back from you, so hit us up on Twitter at Pep Talk Pod. Hit me up on IG at _JB Speaks, on our website, the peptalkpodcast.wordpress.com, and email us. Of course, I want to hear from you at thepeppodcast@gmail.com. Listen, leave those ratings, subscribe, like, tell your friends, tell your people, spread the word. Y'all, we're getting peppy in here. We're cheering you on, we're coaching you up, and we are doing it in a spirit of love because I love y'all and I want to see the best for your lives. So thank y'all for rocking with us on episode 4 of the Pep Talk Podcast. I'm Coach Jay. It's been a blessing being here with you. You be blessed, you be peppy, and you be back next week. Later.